I'm going to go through this one more time for this person, okay? So I bought a property for £4,500 on deposit. Add solicitor fees, yep. Here's the funds going out of my bank, okay? So that's how much it cost me. That property was £90,000, so I had a 5% mortgage. That then went up to 125,000 and the mortgage was around, I believe, 86, 87, okay? So I had around 37, 38,000 pound. I then pulled out this amount and I was able to put that down onto the deposit, which was this for my second property, which was £12,500, which was 5% of a £250,000 mortgage. I then had to pay £7,500 on stamp duty due to it being a surcharge of a second property and solicitor fees. So that's pretty much the mortgage bit done. Why was I able to do this? So a consent to let. I used consent to let and remortgaged 2 years into having my first property. This allowed me to be able to pull equity below the 25% mark. I pulled it out at between around 10 to 15%. That's why I was still able to keep money in the property while being able to take the money out for the second property. Okay, so that's why it was able to be possible. So now, why does it come into this 31x that this person's talking about? So it's something called leverage. So what is leverage? I put down 5% onto a property, but I still get the full amount of growth off the full value of the property. So if a property is £100,000 and it goes up 10%, I don't get £10,000 just by itself. It's in the equity. So I get to keep that 10,000, but I don't get 10% of that 10,000, if that makes sense. So I get to keep the full amount. This is where you're mistaking me being able to invest better than Warren Buffett. It's 31x because it's 20 to 1 on leverage. That's why I wouldn't be able to do this on a grand scale with stocks. So that's why it's possible. So I was then able to make my property go from £90,000 to 150, but I remortgaged it up to around 100. So then I was able to get another 50,000 in equity when it went up to 150,000, if that makes sense. The second property I bought for 250,000. The mortgage was free, 237,500. The property is now worth 330. So if you take the both of them off, it's around £95,000 in equity. Add the both of them together, and it's between 140, 150,000 pound in equity, starting from that £4,500. So this person, that is why I was able to do it, okay? This is not an attack on this person, by the way. This is me explaining it because a few people have asked. So that's it.